during your time here, you must have experienced a lot of ups and downs, and I just want to know, what would be some of your highs and some of your lows that you experienced here while you were in your position?
Well, the 2 strikes were definitely the lows. The first strike, which I was told was not against me, but gets counted against me anyway. I mean, that was in the works long before I came. And, you know, my second day on the job, we were heading down the road to that strike. I get blamed for it, but I really don't accept responsibility for it. I get blamed for the fact that I said I would try to raise the level of the faculty salaries, and then I didn't. But that was in a situation, again, of declining enrollment. The second strike, where I was personally attacked, I felt that I had been an honest broker with the faculty for the time I was here. I felt I was open. I tried to be as transparent as we possibly could in terms of our operations. And the fact that I was attacked as viciously, frankly, as I was hard. Was hard to accept.
You were.
Yeah.
I saw those signs just as much as anyone.
And that was very hard for me to accept, because I felt I'd been an honest broker and been as open as I was possible to be. And so to have personal attacks made was something I just kind of took my breath away. So those were definitely the lows. The highs have been things like the campaign. I mean, we've just passed $51 million. Nobody's ever raised that much money for Acadia before. Doing the right thing for the students, that to me is very significant. The fact we've been able to do the Learning Commons, and I think position Acadia well for the future, and the biology building, and I think Acadia will be well positioned by that. Those are definitely the highs. The times I've spent with the students have been real highs for me. I've very much enjoyed the residence visits every year, the open hours, the times that I've had having students question and ask good questions and hopefully provided them with some answers. Those have all been really high. The times that I've spent with the alumni, bringing the alumni back to the university. The year I came, the alumni gave $30,000. That's like 50 cents per alumni. This year they've given over $300,000 in the annual campaign.
Wow.
Being able to do that is a real high for me. So, those things are very, very satisfying. I think the team that I'm leaving is a strong team. You never know what's going to happen after you leave, and I'm frankly a leader who never looks back. I will close the door. I will be satisfied with what I've been able to accomplish. I will know that there were things I couldn't accomplish. There were things I was not successful in doing, but I move forward.
So does it matter to you how people will look at your legacy, whether they're going to focus on some of these lows or some of these highs that you mentioned?
People will do what people do. I think in the long run, people will understand what I did for the school. In the short run, there's negativity around it. The town feels, the problem is, in order to move, the institution was bloated because of the double cohort. We had too many faculty, which is written in the contract now, and still is written in the contract, although it's a few fewer. A person running a business, and a university, like it or not, is a business, unless they have control over their costs, cannot adjust to market fluctuations. Right now, Canada and the U.S. are apparently going into inflation, to a recession, and possibly inflation as well. They're worrying about that. But so, a factory that's, not that I like to compare us with a factory, but a factory that's creating widgets is now looking around and saying, well, people are not going to need as many widgets, so we have to make adjustments and we have to let people go. We can't do that here because our contract locked the number of faculty we have. So as the number of students fell after the double cohort started through and now has left, we cannot adjust our fixed costs in terms of faculty. And similarly, the town has overbuilt and people built too many places. I've had to let people go. The only people we could let go to cut our costs were staff. And so it's all been taken on the staff side. And that was a heavy heavy blow to have to let that many people go. So right now, I'm sure people are not particularly happy with me. I think in the long run, they will see that I made Acadia stronger. And I couldn't do everything I wanted to do. But the Acadia Advantage had become a noose around our necks, the way it was run, with computers that nobody wanted, that were not functional. Remember, we had to replace all the hard drives in the Dells when we first got them. We did. Choosing the Dells was a community decision, but it turned out to be a bad one. We were locked into that for 40 years by someone who had no right to do that, signed a contract that he had no right to sign. There was a lot of dysfunction in the administration when I came, and I think I've been able to clean up a lot of that, and we've got a very strong team now. But a lot of the things that had to be done were difficult things. And I think they've made Acadia stronger for having done them. I think Acadia 2.0, especially if they get the Mac, is going to be a huge success, the Acadia Advantage. But it had to be changed. But, you know, it's like that's such a trite saying, you can't make an omelet without breaking eggs. And to make Acadia stronger, we have had to make some hard decisions and some hard changes. And we've done them.
It's hard sometimes when you look at Acadia as a business because we are so connected to it. It's so intertwined. We get passionate about it. We like to think it's more than a business. It is. It's you know, but at the same time, it is, and that's where the hard decisions have to be made. So, anyone coming into your position
is going to have to keep being able to make hard decisions.
Yeah.
That's going to be the reality of the situation.
So, what's next for you? Where do you go from here?
I don't know yet. I mean, my husband is thrilled that he will have a wife again. I'm thrilled that I'll have a husband again, full time.
Yeah.
That's for 9 years we haven't lived together, and we've got a great marriage. And you know, you reach a time in your life, and I'm not interested in retiring, but you reach a time in your life where you say, well, what are my priorities? You know, how much time do I have left? How much time do I have to be together with my husband? Who knows? You don't know. I mean, I could get run over by a bus tomorrow. But you have to make some decisions. Being president of an institution like this was my life's dream. Okay, I've satisfied my life's dream. Well, what next? So do I find a new dream? Do I look for a new dream?
Well, you don't just pack it in and call her quits, right?
No, by no means. But my husband is really pushing me not to do anything else for a bit. But I know that probably that bit will be shorter than he wants, because if the right opportunity comes along, I'll probably jump for it. I mean, this job, I don't know. It's funny, when the new vice president came in, he reflected on how even he, who kind of paid attention, had not a clue what the president's job was like. It's a job that, and I knew I had some idea, but it's a job that is 24/7, and it eats you alive, and everybody wants a piece of you. And if you know, I would have these decisions, okay, toward the end of the year, Roger's got his passion play, we've got the athletic banquet the same night, I've got something else to go to. So there's 4 things in one night. Now, do I show up a little bit at each one? Because people have all invited me and they want me to come to it. So do I go to one and blow off the others, or do I show up a little bit and then leave?
And how does that look?
And how does that look? Is that more insulting than not coming at all? So I usually did that. You know, I'd show up for a little bit and then say goodbye. And I loved it. I mean, it's something I was willing to do. And most times, universities take for granted that the president and the spouse, whoever the spouse is, will be fully engaged. But nobody knows, except the people in the office, what kind of a schedule a president keeps in order to do that. It's an incredibly demanding job, and very rewarding, absolutely rewarding. But it takes a toll. I mean, this year, I went through 5 or 6 years when I never had a cold. This year I have had cold after cold after cold. And it's because I'm tired. There are points. I mean, we're wrapping up the capital campaign, and we have succeeded. We passed 50 million. But as part of the capital campaign, I was traveling 3 days a week for months at a time there would be this fall semester cluster and then the spring semester cluster where I'd be away 3 days a week, which is fine, and I liked it, but traveling 3 days a week takes a toll on you. And wrapping up the campaign, probably the demands for travel would not be as great. But still, the alumni are out there and they want to see the president, and there are many alumni I never got to see, as many as I did get to see. There are many I never got to see. I hope the new president's going to take that on. And our international alumni really, it wasn't until the third time I visited Bermuda and the Bahamas that they took seriously that we really cared about them. Because they just said, well, before, people just blew through. But, you've come back 3 times, and 3 times now I'm an honorary citizen of Bermuda.
It takes that type of effort.
It takes that kind of effort for people to know you really care.